Welcome back, Pixel Map Adventures, and we are going to be looking at Mercury today. So here it is. Look at it in all its glory. Alright, so as I was looking earlier, I had found something between Henry and Van Dijk, whatever you want to call that. And let's see here. We gotta orient this back to north. Okay. Let's zoom in. So there's just, you know, you could just find these places anywhere once you start referencing them. But they're along this ridge. You know, there were some interesting things. So anyways, because it's, I don't know. So anyways, here we are. One of the things that I noticed right away, wherever it went, see, I lost it, right? Where did you go? Where did you go? Nobody knows. What's else? Oh, look at the little Stonehenge. Not really. Okay, so this part right here is what caught my attention. You know, because initially you see this, right? You see this little outline right here. This. So it looks at first like this is something, right? Like, oh, look, that's interesting. Look at that. It's nestled in here, and here's like a ridge, you know, that we think is a ridge, right? And unless like your eyes will mess with you, it'll start doing this little inverse thing where you're looking at this shadow and you can't tell whether it's being caused from this ridge and then the light is hitting it and casting a shadow like here along this ridge, or whether there's a ridge here and then the light is coming from this direction, hitting it and then casting a shadow this way. So those would be good things to know, actually. That's the question.
Which one is it? Which one is it? Oh my gosh.
So, I would say automatically that because of what this is, it doesn't make sense that this is a mound, right? If we were thinking the light was coming from this direction, hitting this, and then casting a shadow, it wouldn't make sense that you would naturally find a mound-shaped thing with like sharp, pointy structures on the surface. Because now if the sun's coming from this direction, it's hitting that, and then it's creating a shadow. But the thing is, why is there a shadow on this side then, if the light's hitting it from this way? So obviously the light is coming from this direction, and it's hitting it over here, and it's hitting this ridge, and it's creating a shadow, and then it's hitting this mountain-like structure, and then it's creating a little shadow inside the crater. But let's get back to our main subject here. So we want to know if this is really anything, or it's just an illusion, you know? And, you know, so many interesting things, like there's this platform right, ooh, wow. You're gonna see objects that other people don't see. You're gonna see lines and things based on your own experience, and your mind will begin to imagine what it thinks it's seeing, always, before you actually see it and make sense of it. So we're just here to make sure that we don't go way too far out here with that, because that's how your brain is gonna most likely do things. It's going to interpret things into what it thinks it might be. The idea is to just remain open and not to jump to any conclusions. But I would say that's an interesting outline, though. And then because I see this like slight blurring, this is actually interesting because I mean it just makes me wonder, like maybe there's like some sort of a smoke or whatever rising up, or it's just simply the screen from the camera messing up. But either way, there are times where I've found geysers on other planets. So once again, we're just remaining open. We're just supposed to let the brain tell us what it thinks it sees, and then come to a conclusion at the end of all of this. Yeah. This to me is very weird, actually. So what we could be looking at is this layer right here, back here, could be higher elevation, and then this right here could be a lot lower elevation. So it's casting, you know, a sharper shadow, or it's just simply, you know, the same elevation. But I would say it's not the same elevation, because if you zoom out, you know, you can see that there are a lot of shadows on this side. Well, here's the other interesting thing now, because now that I'm looking at this, this is white right here. And then I think it would be better if I just, you know, took a snapshot of this here for us. So I'm gonna do that actually. I'm just gonna like show you what I'm talking about. So this is the object which I find interesting, right? I'm gonna select it all because there's just this little interesting stuff. Okay, so here's the thing, and then this is the shadow area. Okay, so Yeah, I know, right? Like you gotta be slightly entertaining to yourself while you're looking at blurred pixels. It's like being blind. Oh, look at what, it's not exactly the most exciting thing to be looking at, but it's like fishing, right? We're just hoping to catch a fish. It's like anybody that's out there mining for gold, just hoping to find gold. So we're just hoping to find something interesting here. And so that's the shadow. And then this is our ridge here. Yeah. Right here, this is the ridge along this area, right? And then of course the shadows are being, right here. So the idea is this could just be flat. It could be a flat area that is elevated, causing that shadow. And so that actually means that this could actually still be valid as an interesting object to consider. At first, I mean, like I looked at it a second time and then I almost dismissed it because I saw this ridge and I was like, oh, maybe it's just it's a ridge, right? It's like, it could just be a sharp, tall ridge, and then this is more pointy and not flat. But it's quite possible that that actually is something, it just, I don't know. Some of these shadows actually, they don't really make a whole lot of sense almost. That's why I gotta zoom out. So anyways, so now what we can do is we can go into like this 3D view and we can just check. Let's flatten it and look at it. So let's imagine like for a second this light across the surface, right? So we are kind of like, this looks like it's flat and it looks like it's a lower area right here. So now I'm gonna go back into this view. It looks like maybe this could actually be flat. You know what I mean? And that's interesting because, okay, so like right along here you have this ridge, right? It's going along this way. And the light's coming across here, and then it's casting some shadows where it's like it falls off and then it casts a shadow. So it's like falling off, casting a shadow. But at the same time, we can't tell the elevation of some of these things on the surface. We don't know if they're taller or if this is rounder. And so it could be causing that shadow to go out further because this is actually taller than it appears on this 3D map even. Just like right here, like this could be a really tall area, creating a longer shadow. And that's the problem with these maps, is like you can't always tell. And so that's why you have to look at it like this. Like I just thought because of these unusual looking shapes that could just be caused by artifacts created through the process of stitching these things together. But that's why we use shadows to then help us to understand what we're actually looking at. It's like, it could be nothing, but out of all the stuff out here that I'm looking at, right? Like think about it, like we just saved ourselves time from having to look at maybe like 100 or 1,000 other areas. Like we could easily go over here and be like, oh my gosh, is this interesting? No, it's not. You know why? Because it's flat and it looks a lot like everything else. Little mounds, bumps, like shadows. And so, it'd be like looking at a sand dune and being like, oh, it's like that sand dune is different, even though there could be something behind it. And so then the idea is like, we want to say, okay, if we're going to waste any time at all looking at any of these mounds or sand dunes, because there could be something buried under a sand dune for sure. And you could find out if you could understand how to look at patterns and recognize what's different compared to everything else. So the idea is like, there's really nothing else out here that's interesting until we start to get back over here. Now this is actually fascinating right here. And then if I zoom out, oh look, it's right next to this area too. So this is the crazy thing. When you start to get more interesting details and things showing up in patterns, in indentations, it starts to like, you got this thing that's over here, you got this little loop right here, like it looks like a pathway. I'm gonna come back around to our original perspective here, and so this is the other interesting thing I noticed was like you have this like line right here, kind of loops around like that. So whether this is a road or a river or lava flow or whatever, it's interesting. And then we have also this interesting, in this line, and then this, and I was picking up on those patterns, and I was just like, it looks different from all the other terrain, Now I have to also realize we are along a ridge line, so if something did push up over time, then maybe it would make sense that there were a little bit more chunkier rocks and stuff. But another interesting thing is, because there were 7 interesting areas over here, is this one too. This one was more square, and I just thought, the possibility is like, what if, like if we zoom in, like that's like a mile, you know what I mean? Like it's most likely not a human or an alien made structure, possibly because it's like it's a mile long, right? And we just don't have generally mile-long structures on the surface of a planet that doesn't largely want to support any major life forms on the surface. You know, because it's so hot, it would tend to be that the life forms would be in the surface, which is still a valid possibility for a structure coming out the side of a rock formation, because, you know, you could have things living inside of the side of mountains and things. And if there was, right, if it was just like 1 in a million chances that we just happen to see it, then it'd be like, okay, if there was something on the planet and it was in the side of a mountain or a hill, you know, this could be it. But then it becomes less likely when you put it over here next to this bar, and you can see, you know, it's like only 2 kilometers or a mile, you know, in across. So it becomes less likely that it is something because of how big it is, and the likelihood of that kind of a complex structure on the surface just doesn't make sense, given that maybe Mercury doesn't appear to be that advanced and it's close to the sun. It's really hot. Like, there might be a lot of stuff going on below, but it's just not likely above the surface, unless you have a mining operation of, you know, just for the fun of it, like, you know, aliens who see the value in actually mining resources from a planet that's already super hot and could aid in the application of heating up metals and stuff that could be extracted. So there could be most likely a mining operation on the surface of a planet like this in an advanced way that we're not familiar with. And that's part of what we have to look at and consider. As ridiculous as other people might think it is, it doesn't matter. See, that's the point. It doesn't matter. We're just looking for what stands out. And if I was a geologist, then I could start to maybe understand better what this is compared to this, you know, compared to that. But also at the same time, I also know that when it comes to patterns and trends, you don't actually, you can figure that stuff out later, but if you just notice what stands out first, then you can sort of start to just quickly go from there and figure out what exactly, you know, you're looking at. You know, like, this will look interesting right away, right? It's gonna get your attention, and we're gonna look at it, and then we're gonna be like, most likely mountains. You know what I mean? Like, this interesting little thing going like that, to me, that's fascinating. If I had my own spacecraft of some kind, and I had a drone, I'd be like, and I just had time to go check it out, I'd be like, I just wanna know what that is. You know, because the thing is, if I could get a closer look at this kind of stuff, I could then understand that later on, the next time I see that, I know what it is. Because we might find from a drone shot, you know, on the surface of Mercury, that we're like, oh, this is just where liquid was spilling. You know what I mean? But, like, come on, like, it just looks sort of unusual. And this is like practically, you know, we're gonna put it up next to our little thing. This is like practically half a mile to a mile long in length right here. So that's all we're doing, is we're just trying to get better overall. So next time we come and look at an image, you know, we can be like, okay, that's probably nothing. So this is just, you know, me exploring, finding something interesting, then going back and quickly trying to debunk it and see what it is. But if it looks like everything else, it's not really going to be interesting to me. It has to stand out in some way or another. And so it's like it stood out because of those reasons. And you know, it's like I can always find this place, like, right, like I know how to look at stuff and find it again if I want to. Like, I can just simply, like, you might be like, oh, we lost it, but as soon as I see Henry and then Van Geek or whatever the shiznit that is, then I zoom in, I notice these 2 craters, and then I see this dark shaded area, and I can just quickly go back in here and find this thing again, right? So it's just like you get good at these kind of things. And there it is, see, right here. You know, and then of course I know where I want to look. I have the square object as reference. I have this one as reference, and I have a lot of interesting stuff up here as well. You know, like I just notice like pathways, and I just say, okay, well, where does it lead naturally? It wants to go up here, maybe. Okay, this seems to be like sort of a flat, low-lying area in general right here. And then I see, you know, I don't know. It looks like there could be something here. And so I would want to, you know, out of all the things that I've looked at, right, if you're looking all around here, it's just one of those places that I would want to really look into if I could, right? Like, I'm really interested in what that is. And then if I could debunk it and then figure out it's nothing, then I would move on. But at least I didn't have to look at like a million other things, right? So we're just reducing the amount of things that we should consider looking at. And that is pretty much all I'm going to say for this one, and I'm done. Anyways, thanks for joining as we just searched for an object and then sort of zoomed in on it to further explore it and figure out what we think about it. Until next time.